Hello, everybody. It's the Saints man, small van driver on the CX, and it's Friday afternoon. I've had the day off. Not really had the day off. I've been doing lots of little things, which we'll probably come to in a bit. But this is Monday to Thursday. Monday the 31st, starting the 31st. It's been a strange week. I've had probably two of my work. Oh, I've got some bloody did one. Two of my worst days. I've had a really good day and a sort of alright day. But it has been a struggle this week. I'd got a job booked in Monday, and it took a while. And then I picked one up. First one I picked up was from Northampton, about 2 miles from where I was, going to JCB. I haven't been there for ages. And it was the Cheadle JCB, which is the furthest one along. It's like the small parts one, is that what it's called? It's the one in Cheadle, the one that's further along the A50 than the others. So you keep going, it's nearer Stoke. And I've been there twice, but I haven't been for a long while. And I got the job, by the way, anyway. Quoted 68 quid for it, and it was three small boxes. Quite heavy boxes, 15 kilos, but they were a small, crisp box size. So I knew there'd be a drop off. There used to be a drop off as you went through the gate, through the security. By the way, I'm just shaking my hands because I've got this girl. Jim, you got your whippet or your greyhound? I've got a bloody great fat Weimaraner. But she won't leave me alone. She wants food, she ain't getting any. Where was I? Yeah, JCB. Yeah, it used to be through the gate, and it used to be on trolleys just the back of the gatehouse, security gatehouse. It's not now, so if you go to Cheadle, JCB, you don't even have to go to the gatehouse. It's on the right hand side before the gate in a car park, and it was down there. And it's an easy drop. If you've got small boxes, easy drop. Lovely girl, two girls, one in the car park, who told me where to go. Once the security bloke really said it's out there. One of the girls took it, so all good. The only thing is with Cheadle, you ain't really got a lot around you. And if there's a few drivers dropping stuff off, the competition's a bit strong. So, yeah, I thought I'm going to struggle here. But there was a job on there from Stoke to Stone to Chipping Norton, which we all Chipping Norton. It's going to Alpine racing. But the pickups were strange. I got a 1 o'clock pickup, which I was going to get to easy because it was about 12 o'clock. So I'd only got a few miles to do. I thought, well, that's all right. But the second pickup weren't until 3 o'clock. And then it was delivered Chipping Norton, which is still a bit of distance to my house. But the mileage was okay. And I quoted, I thought, it just makes my Monday, that'll be it. I know in Chipping Norton I ain't going to get nothing out of there. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be home probably late-ish. I'm going to be there sort of 5 o'clock. So I didn't know what to quote. I quoted 88 in the end, which was a good high rate, but it meant the dead miles from Chipping Norton home I was going to have to swallow. And that's exactly what happened. I got the job. There weren't a lot going, to be honest. Not anywhere, really. I think I quoted on one or two, but a few vans around. So this one, although it was over a lot of time, there wasn't a lot of work. It was nice, relaxing. So I quoted 88. I got that one. I got the first one in Stoke about 1:45. I went to the second pickup, which was in Stone. It weren't in Stoke. It was in Stone, and yeah, lovely. It was just outside Stone. It was a big unit on its own, but the canal was nearby, so I parked up. I'd got an hour and a bit to kill. Morrison's up the road. I just got something to eat, and I just had a chill. Just chilled out. Literally had a wander along the canal. Should have took some photos, really. It was bitterly cold, not very brilliant, but it was all right. Went along the canal and picked it up, and just a steady run Chipping Norton. Last 10 miles is all B roads, and it's not all motorway. Went down to Birmingham, M5, across the. But it was good. Yeah, down to Banbury. And that was it. There was nothing else. It was late in the afternoon. I weren't going around. I weren't staying out. I did 156 quid, which, it's not too shabby. I did 272 miles, and that included 50 odd miles. I'd done 100, I did 150. I did 50 odd miles, dead miles at the end of the day. Probably a bit more than that. Probably near 60. But there's no work in the Cotswolds. I chatted to a couple of people. I phoned a couple of people up. I quoted on one job that was 30 miles away, which would have got me to Daventry, but I couldn't compete because 30 dead miles and then to compete, and it was going to be a struggle anyway. So I just drove home. So Monday, I only did 8 hour day, 8.5 hours in total, which ain't brilliant. 156 quid, it's under 20 quid an hour, but I had a lot of rest time in that. There was a lot of rest time not working. Tuesday, I hadn't booked any jobs Monday night. The shipper that gives me a fair bit of work, he said he was going to have work later in the week. Anybody hadn't got anything. All he got was Central London. 5 drops in Central London. Didn't fancy it. Didn't fancy it at all. Parking, and really, yeah, you got to know what you're doing. And I've done a couple of them for him where it's been 2 drops. It's all right, but no, I didn't fancy that. But I picked a job up out of Corby to Byfleet, which, yeah, it was all right. I quoted, I think, 85 on it. I thought it was all right. And it was picking up a document out of Corby. But the job I got there, I had a job finding it. It was on EuroHub. And they wouldn't release the document. She said she couldn't release it to a courier. I'd got the details. So I phoned the shipper up, told him. He says he thought it was going to be a problem. He says he told the customer he thought it was going to be a problem. It was going to a residential house in Byfleet. She couldn't release the document. I just phoned the shipper up and says, okay, let me phone my office up. I phoned the shipper up. And then I went back to her, and I'd still got the shipper on the phone. I says, I'll let you speak to my office. And, you can explain to him why you can't release the document. There was some data protection, blah, blah, blah. I got all my stuff saying who I was. He sort of had a chat with her, and she says, and it was all okay. But I'd been there a while. I'd come from Northampton to Corby, and I'll give the shipper total respect. He come back. He says, I found it. He couldn't find it on where he was. I found the place, and he says, you've been great. You've been absolutely brilliant. He says, there's cancellation fee. I says, well, it's got to be at least 30, mate. I says, because I've travelled 20 odd miles to get it. He says, don't worry about that. He says, I'm going to pay you 40. So fair play to him. He paid me 40 quid. And when I worked it out, from when I left home to when I'd finished all the rigmarole, it was best part of 2 hours anyway. So it was about that. I hadn't done many miles. I only done 20 odd miles, so I was well up. But it put me at a time then. It was about 11:30, 12 o'clock. And there's nothing. I was in Corby. I decided to drive to Kettering because it brings in Northampton without a lot of dead miles. So I drove to Kettering. And of course, what happened? The job popped up out of Corby to bloody Basingstoke, which I would have, would have done me very nicely. But there was a few drivers in Corby. There was only one in Kettering. But it worked out all right. I went to Tesco in Kettering, parked up, went and got myself a meal deal, and used the toilet, and come back. And eventually, after about 3/4 of an hour, I quoted on a couple of jobs. One out of Wellingborough, no good. I got one out of Kettering, and it was up the road. And I'd been to this place before, and it was going to a place called Chipping Campden. Campden? In Gloucestershire, just sort of on the Cotswolds, not quite as far as Stowe. Again, going to an area where I thought, I'm going to struggle to get anything. I'm back in the Cotswolds. But it was there. It wasn't many miles. It was only, I think it was 60 miles in total. 65 miles, something like that. I didn't write it down. But I've quoted 52. It was one box of samples to go to a factory. And it's in a village, but this little industrial units. And I got the job. So I went to Chipping Camden. And I just knew I wasn't going to get nothing out of there. It weren't far going back via Banbury. I thought, well, I'll drive back to Banbury and see if I can get anything out of Banbury local. But it was dead. But then there was a job I was looking to pick up that night to deliver next day if possible. Then the shipper, who gives me a lot of work, phoned me up and said he got a really, if I booked up for Wednesday. I said, no, I'm looking. He says, I've got a real long day. If you're looking for a decent, day, he says, your normal southwest run and Wales. So that offset Tuesday, because Tuesday I did 92 quid. I did a cancelled job and that, so it was crap. I only did 160 miles in total, but it still don't work out. It's only 57p because dead mileage. But I did pick up my load for Wednesday in Northampton on the way home, and I was home up as 3. Yeah, I was home up as 3, done. With the load on the back for the next day, which Wednesday got me off to a good start because, as I say, Tuesday was 92 quid. I did 156 on Monday. So, yeah, I ain't doing a lot. But Wednesday, I had my best day of the week, which was Oxford, Cheltenham, Cardiff, Bristol, Exeter. I couldn't get to Oxford till 7:30. I ran through the lot. I had 5 boxes for each, and I finished about 1:45, and that was from I started at 6:15, and it was 1:45 I'd finished that by, and I got £204 for that. So my January sort of February target of 190 I smashed by 14 quid. But that's my day work then. If anything comes on top of that of Exeter back, which I'm looking for to make a really big day of it, I'm going to catch up. But I sat in Exeter, nothing, not a job. Then a job come from Exeter to Stoke-on-Trent, JCB, which I thought I quoted cheap. It weren't cheap enough. It went. I was quite pleased because JCB at night, and I'll end up parking there somewhere. Didn't know whether I fancied that. And I thought, if I don't get anything, I'm just going to stay down in Exeter. I'm going to tramp in Exeter. I'm not going home. I'm 200 miles from home. So I decided to stop. And I stopped in Exeter and I waited. I found a park for night. There was a Toby Carvery that said you can park their car park, have a couple of beers, and I was going to do that. It's about 4 o'clock by now. And then a job popped up from Exeter to Bristol. And I was literally a mile from it. So I quoted on it, and it was like 70 odd miles. I quoted 55 quid. It was 77 miles. I quoted 55 quid. I just thought that'll get me up to 259. I should have quoted 56. Would have rounded it off, but I quoted 55. Phoned up and he said, "Yeah, the job's yours." He said, "Brilliant." I said, "I'm only a mile from it." He says, "Great, 'cause it needs picking up pretty quick." I picked it up, and it was one COVID sample to go to Spire Hospital in Bristol, which I've been to before. And off we went. So I got a little bonus there. That got me a bonus. I was in Bristol and I was parked up. I was in Bristol by about 6:30. Delivered. And I park in Morrison's in Cribbs Causeway. You can park there all night for free. And toilet and all that. And I was parked up at 7, just after 7. Still keeping the feed on, but nothing else come of that. So that was Tuesday. But I tramped in the car park in Morrison's, and I really got a good. I watched a film on my laptop because I've got my dongle with me. I watched a film, watched a bit of YouTube, and I slept like a real good one until about 4 o'clock in the morning because I've got a real heavy. Well, it's not heavy duty. It's just a real good winter sleeping bag. And when I got to bed, I was warm because it was quite mild night. And by the time I'd slept, I must have chucked the covers off because when I woke up at 4 o'clock, I had no covers on me. I was bloody freezing. But put the quilt back on, zipped it all up, and I slept solid through till 7 o'clock when you start getting the staff coming in. And I slept great. So, good night's kip. Used the wet wipes all over. Got me, cleaned the teeth. Went and got myself, went to get myself a coffee, but the machine was still knackered in Morrison, so that didn't happen. Yeah, used the toilet. It's gone dark. It's all right. Anyway, so we moved then on to Thursday, which was yesterday. And so I'm in Bristol. About 7:30, 7:45, I'm ready to rock. Packed all my bed up, put it all away, ready to go. Looking for work, and got a job pretty soon actually. I got the job about 8:30. Got to pick up at 9 o'clock in Bristol, going to near Heathrow Airport. Can't think of the name. Hammondsworth. Does that ring a bell? It's near the airport, near about 2 miles from the airport. Not even that. Just off the A4, little industrial estate. And picked that job up. And done that, no problem whatsoever. 1 minute, I'm just going to sort this dog out. 1 minute. Oh. Come on, you. Come on. Good. Sorry, we live in a lodge. Let's open the door, let her out. She likes to come out. Oh, back in. Yay. Little tour, why not? Anyway, yeah. Sorry about that. Let the dog out. Let's plug it back in. So, where were we? Yeah, picked the job up to go to... picked the job up to go to London. Like we had before. Get the old Bible back. Yeah, quoted, it was 100 miles exactly. So I quoted 78. He said, well, he says, I was the first one on the phone, apparently. He said, I've got a couple of quotes, he said, and there was quite an intricate pickup device. It was from near an airport, from a company that a lot of security. And he says, I'm going to get it. He said, I've had a quote at 70. He says, but I'm going to give it to you because I only want to explain it once. He said, you seem to have a bit of sense about you. So he gave me the job. Sure enough, there was 2 reference numbers I had to match up and all this. And I've done it before, similar sort of job out of East Midlands. So, yeah, all good. Picked it up, one box. It goes to like a bonded warehouse where it gets put on a plane. It was for courier. Eventually, it's going to be courier. But this company would obviously sort it out and take it into Heathrow. So we done that. And then we sat there. And I've had this problem before, and probably a few of you have. Once you're in London, or the catchment area of London, getting a job out of London for any sort of money is... I'm not going to say impossible, but it's pretty much damn near impossible because, guys, someone's quoting, girls, guys, I don't know, they're quoting silly money to get out. You know, I got a job in the end. It was 35 quid, and I went from Byfleet, which was about 7 or 8 miles away, to Harrow, and it was picking up a box from a shipper to take to a residential address in Harrow. 35 quid. It was about 25 miles, but it's all through London. It's a pain in the arse to get through. Although I did get there quite rapidly. But any job going away from London, either going to Bristol, to anywhere else, it's crazy money. And I phoned one shipper up and he'd had quotes 55 pence. 50 pence, 55 pence, going back out of London. And that sort of seems to be, if that's what that's going to be, getting out of London, it ain't worth going to London. I've had the same trouble when I've been to Blue Water. Not so bad, because you tend to bring in Erith, Dartford, Grays, Purfleet, round there, bridge, you know, round Kent, northern Kent, Medway. You can sort of get a price and get back either, you know, along the M4 up, you know, up that side. But prices were just cheap, and I won't do it for that. So I did the Byfleet to Harrow, and again, there was the odd job or two, but I was a bit pissed off by then. I've only done 113 on the day, but I'd had a really good day on the Wednesday, and I thought to myself, do you know what? I ain't working Friday. I'll tell you what, I could have got Thursday. There's a point. Didn't say this earlier. On yesterday, I could have gone to Scotland comfortably on Thursday. If I'd have been working today, Friday, I could have gone to Scotland. But through experience, I never go to Scotland on Thursday, because if that means you've got to get back Friday, you've got to get back Friday, unless you're going to spend the weekend and have a really nice weekend in Scotland and go and visit Neil at Neptune Couriers. That might be a plan, mightn't it? Free accommodation. Yeah, get a job on Monday, nick his work. Neil, I don't mean it, mate. But yeah, there was 3 jobs go to Scotland. Glasgow, Paisley and Falkirk. Out of round Heathrow. There's obviously stuff coming in off planes, and they're going to struggle. They're going to get them covered, but you're going to get a rate for them. But I'll never go to Scotland Thursday, because you've got to come home Friday. And even, I think Neil's told you this, on a Friday, guys are quoting crap money to get home. They'll just do it for petrol money because they've got the money going up, which is fine. But I don't want to be 350 miles going up after, you know, and then 350 miles on 50p or something like that. Nah. So that was it. that was Thursday. I drove home from Harrow. Harrow ain't too bad. It's only 60 miles from where I live, so it wasn't too shabby. So all in all, I did that day 216 miles from Bristol to London, farting around and then home. It was only 4 hours driving because it's all motorway apart from the bit in London. 4 and a bit hours driving, and it was not even an 8 hour day, but it was crap. It was 113 quid. Out of that, I think I sat around for 3 hours. Gotta be 3 hours trying to get out of London. So, whew, yeah. So not such a good week. I did 1,025 miles, which is, although it was only 4 days. So I averaged 250 miles a day, 255, something like that a day. Didn't work today. Had physio on my back. Nikki, there's a brilliant girl who does it. My back's been playing up for a long while, as you said in previous videos, but it's containing it, and it feels great at the moment. Yeah, I had an hour's massage, knots everywhere. It's part of the job, I think, courier job. I always have a bit issue with the back, but hey, hours from Nikki. And then I went to see the accountant. My end of year was coming up. It's come up, yeah. It's November to November, so November 21st. I went to see Ruth, who's my accountant. We had a really good chat. She's got all my figures now. She's going to look into it to see if the flat rate scheme might be beneficial to me. We think it may be, but not by enough. It just won't. Went for a few figures. Had a 2 hour meeting with her at her house. Very nice cup of tea. And hopefully, yeah, she was happy with what I'd give her. She exported all the figures that she needed and all the stuff off my laptop. She's going to sort that out. A couple of things to look into. All good. And then just dropped a couple of prescriptions off. Going to do a bit of shopping later today. And then I'm going to take the wife to see a Freddie Mercury tribute in Northampton. So, not a bad Friday actually. But I say, all in all, I did 1,025 miles, 34 hours duty time, so it wasn't a really full week. £620. That's my worst week this year by a long way. But I say 4 days, only averaged 155 a day, which, believe it or not, when I first started on the CX, which was November 2020, that was my target, 150 a day, 750 a week. I thought if I do that, I should be all right. Things have gone up, petrol's gone through the roof, everything's gone up. My target is now 190 a day, January, February, and 200 a day after that. So I was under my target by 35 quid a day, 140 for the week. So yeah, it wasn't a brilliant week. 61 pence I managed to average mileage, because I dead miled 2 or 3 days, which I wouldn't normally do. But hey, that's the way it is. Pretty much it for the week. So, books away. Had a good day. Saints won last week against Worcester. Kicked their asses. Good job. No game for the Saints this week, but England, it's the Six Nations. Don't disturb me on a Saturday, because you're not going to get an answer when that's on. From the time they start on the telly to the time it's finished on the telly, I'll be watching England. Lewis Ludham, Saints man, playing for England. Watch him in number 7. Might be playing 6. Back row, good player. All the best to England. I wonder if Neil's a Scotland supporter at Neptune's. Yeah, he must be. Perhaps we'll have a little chat about that. Anyway, hope you're all doing well. Hope you're having a good week. I see Jim put a video out earlier today. Same day, on his motorbike. Good looking bike. Man's got money. Jigs, cheers. 1250 BMW. He's doing alright, Jim. I'll have to get to them roads in the summer when I get my bike out the shed off its 3 duvets. Jim, I'll be there. Anyway, I'm rattling on, 24 minutes, but back on it next week. I'm doing 5 days next week, and then I've got a week off the following week. We're going down to Norfolk. But yeah, full week next week. Let's hope we get some better work. Cheers, guys.